Friends and viewers, Grigory Rasputin, a Russian monk, is well known by the people. So let us today talk about Grigory Rasputin. I had in my hand a book about Rasputin, written by Edward Rodzinski. This is a very nice book and a very informative book written about the biography of the Rasputin. So let us talk about Rasputin's life in brief. Who was he and what he had done? Grigory Rasputin, his full name was Grigory Yefimovich Rasputin. Grigory, also spelled in Grigory. Original name Grigory Yefimovich Novevich, born on the 22nd of January in 1869, Petrovskoye near Tyumen, Siberia. He was a Russian Empire at that day, died on the 30th of December in 1916. Petrograd, now St. Petersburg, Russia. Siberian peasant and a mystic whose ability to improve the condition of Alexei Nikolaevich the hemophilic heir to the Russian throne made him an influential favorite at the court of Emperor Nicholas II and Empress Alexandra. Although he attended school, Grigory Rasputin remained illiterate, and his reputation for licentiousness earned him the surname Rasputin, Russian for debauched one. Rasputin mean in Russia the debauched one. He evidently underwent a religious conversion at age of 18 and eventually at the monastery at Verkhotur, where he was introduced to the Khilisti sect. Rasputin perverted Khilisti belief into the doctrine that his doctrine was that the one who was nearest to God when feeling holy passionlessness, and the best way to reach such a state was through the sexual exhaustion, and that came after prolonged debauchery. Rasputin did not became a monk. He returned to Pekrovskoye at the age of 19, married Praskoya Fedorovna Dubrovina, who later bore him 4 children. So marriage did not settle Rasputin. He left home and wandered to Mount Athos, Greece, and Jerusalem, living off the pleasant donation and gaining a reputation as a starets, self-proclaimed holy man with the ability to heal the sick and predict the future. Rasputin wandering took him to the St. Petersburg in 1903, where he was welcomed by Typhon, inspector of the religious Academy of St. Petersburg, and Hermogen, bishop of Saratov. The court circle of St. Petersburg at that time was entertaining themselves by delving into mysticism and the occult. So Rasputin, a filthy, unkempt wanderer with the brilliant eyes and allegedly extraordinary healing talent, was warmly welcomed. In 1905, Rasputin was introduced to the royal family, and in 1908 he was summoned to the palace of Nicholas and Alexandra during one of their hemophilic sons' bleeding episode. Rasputin succeeded in easing the boy's suffering, probably by his hypnotic power, and upon leaving the palace warned the parent that the destiny of both the child and the dynasty were irrevocably linked to him, thereby setting in motion a decade of Rasputin's powerful influence. He remained in power about 10 years and very influential on the imperial family and the affair of state. In the presence of royal family, Rasputin consistently maintained the posture of humble and holy peasant. Outside court, however, he soon fell into his former licentious habit, preaching that physical contact with its own passion had purify and healing effect. He acquired mistresses and attempted to seduce many other women. When accounts of Rasputin conduct reached the ears of Nicholas, the Tsar refused to believe that he was anything other than a holy man. So Rasputin accusers found themselves transferred to remote regions of the empire. Those people who accuses him, they were transferred by the Tsar. The Tsar had a firm belief on Rasputin or entirely removed from their position of influence. In 1911, Rasputin's behavior had become a general scandal. The Prime Minister P.A. Stolypin sent the Tsar a report on Rasputin's misdeed. As a result, the Tsar expelled Rasputin, but Alexandra, the queen, had him returned within a matter of months. Nicholas, anxious and not to displease his wife and to endanger his son, upon whom Rasputin had an obviously beneficial effect, chose to ignore further allegation of wrongdoing. Rasputin reached the pinnacle of his power at the Russian court. After 1915, during World War I, Nicholas II took personal command of his forces September 1915 and went to the troops on the front, leaving Alexandra in charge of Russia's internal affairs, while Rasputin served as a personal advisor. Rasputin's influence ranged from the appointment of church's officials to the selection of cabinet ministers, often incompetent opportunists, and he occasionally intervened in military matters to Russian detriment. Though supporting to particular political group, Rasputin was a strong opponent of anyone opposing the autocracy of him or himself. Several attempts were made to take the life of Rasputin and save Russia from this evil, from further calamity, but none were successful until 1916. Then a group of extreme conservative, including Prince Felix Yusupov, husband of the Tsar's niece, Vladimir Mitrofanich Purishkevich, a member of Duma, and the Grand Duke Dmitry Pavlovich, the Tsar cousin, formed a conspiracy to eliminate Rasputin and save the monarchy from further scandal. On the night of December 28 to 13, Rasputin was invited to visit Yusupov's home, and according to legend, once there he was given poisoned wine and tea cakes. When he did not die, the frantic Yusupov shot him. Rasputin collapsed and was able to run out into the courtyard, where Purishkevich shot him again. The conspirator then bound him and threw him through a hole in the ice into the Neva River, where he finally died by drowning. However, a subsequent autopsy, when we read this book, autopsy refuted this story, this account of event. Rasputin apparently was shot to death. The murder merely strengthened Alexandra's resolve to uphold the principle of autocracy, But a few weeks later, the whole imperial regime was swept away by revolution. And this was the end of the life of this man, Grigory Rasputin, a Russian Siberian monk. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you will enjoy when you read this book, Rasputin, written by Edward Rodzinski. Thank you very much for patient listening.